Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called Working in Germany, What the US Can Learn from German Work Culture.
Love you. Bye. Have a good day.
They live in Freiburg. I'm guessing.
So normally on a day of work, it's my job to get Jack ready and to drop him off at Kita. His daycare really is just a couple of blocks from my office, so it's a quick and easy process. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Ashton.
I'm Jonathan.
And along with our son Jack, we're the Black Forest family.
So if you haven't watched any of our other videos, I am a mechanical engineer. I've been working in Germany since 2013.
And I'm a PhD student at the local university, and I've been living here in the Black Forest since 2018. So today we're going to be talking to you about German work culture and the ways in which it has honestly changed us for the better. Some of these are monumental items that are codified in public policy, but some of them are honestly just small nuances that have made us better employees and strengthened our relationships with our colleagues here in Germany.
He's going to
these are also things that have helped us improve our careers and improve our German.
Now, I do want to say that this video is not intended to lump all of German culture into one sort of stereotype. In fact, the things that we're going to bring up today, like I mentioned, have really changed us for the better. And as American workers who are now living and working full-time in Germany, I think there's a lot that we can learn from one another and a lot of things that we can do individually to make our work experience collectively much better. And if you're somebody who's new to living abroad, can actually make the transition process so smooth.
Easier.
I'm done trying to fix what is broken.
Okay, so let's dive in to the very first point. And that is honestly that German work culture has taught us to cut the small talk and add in meaningful conversations. So I want to start off by saying that I think the German stereotype that they're somehow standoffish is really incorrect. You know, when I worked in the United States, it was really common for us to have small talk about everything. You started off an email being like, hey, how was your weekend? What were you doing? I saw your pictures on Facebook. That looked amazing. Okay, by the way, I wanted to ask you a question. German emails are straight, direct, and to the point.
Hello, but I need this.
What I found to be so interesting in working in Germany is it's not that they don't want to talk to you. In fact, they would love to learn more about you. They just want it to be in a more meaningful conversation, so that when you ask, hey, how are you? It's a genuine response and not just some sort of placated statement.
And you?
And one of the ways that has made a huge difference for me in becoming better integrated in Germany and a huge difference in my German language skills is to actually go to lunch with my colleagues, to take the time away from my desk, whether it's eating lunch together in the break room or kitchen or actually going out to the local imbis to pick up lunch. Those are conversations that for me have allowed me to become much more connected to my colleagues, get to know them at a deep personal level, and practice conversational German in a real setting.
So to add on to that, I think it's important to point out, working in the United States during work hours, it's not uncommon to talk about personal things, you know, how your weekend was, how your evening was, how your significant other is, or your children. Normally in Germany, those conversations will happen over lunch, they'll happen after work, they'll happen outside of working hours.
Oh, really?
When you're working, you're working.
It's working?
So I think it's important to emphasize that if you really want to make meaningful connections with your colleagues and get to know them deep down, take the time during lunch or even after work to go grab a drink and get to know them better. It'll make a huge difference for both your interpersonal connections, but also your German language skills.
So, number 2. I'm from the Midwest United States. We have a reputation of being overly friendly. However, I can't tell you I've ever walked into a doctor's waiting room or a buffet at a hotel saying good morning to a bunch of strangers that I don't know.
But that's totally the case in Germany, especially
Really?
at a work office setting.
This really caught me off guard for a pretty significant long length of time where everybody would
nice.
walk through the entire office and say good morning to everybody. Working in the United States, that's not very common. Normally you'll walk into a room of people and go about your business. You might just be like, hi, what's up? You don't expect a response, but working in Germany, you know, everybody says hello. Just like the first point above, authenticity is everything. It's something we can all learn from the German work culture. It's to greet your colleagues, it's to say hello, it's to get to know them, to say good morning, and really mean it.
Well, yeah, you have to be polite. Is it really good morning?
Human in motion.
All right, so the third thing on our list is to make a schedule and to stick to it. I don't
In
know.
what way?
Are any of you out there procrastinators? Anyone? Like I am, a little, right? One of the things that I have truly benefited from German work culture is to better allocate my time. Whether that's bi-weekly meetings with my PhD supervisor to talk about my progress, to making entire Gantt charts, planning out my entire dissertation 3 years in advance. One
That
of the
looks
things
scary.
that I've noticed from working in a German office is that planning is everything. Whether it's work, vacations, events, you name it, German offices are run very neat and tidy.
Yeah, like in my office, it's really common for my German colleagues to document and record everything that happens during a meeting.
Yeah, same here. I actually
Oh.
found that one of my German
That's
colleagues
fair to me.
in my university office setting, after he has a meeting with his supervisor, he emails his notes from that meeting back to the supervisor to make sure that everything was understood, everything was clear, and that they're on the same page for their next meeting together.
Which is
That's a really good idea.
nice way of working. You know, personally, I take some pretty vague notes and I write things down on scratch paper, or at least I used to. But now I've really kind of learned to record every note
Actually
with
do
the
it.
date, email it back to the people who shared it, so everything is on the record from what they told me in case we have any challenges down the road.
And this can be a
miscommunications.
great asset if you're still learning German, especially when I started to make the transition of carrying on my meetings in a foreign language. You know, I was only about 80% in terms of what I really understood. So it was incredibly important to be able to email my professor again and say, hey, I just want to make sure that I
understood properly.
what your expectations are of me and what I can expect from you and the rest of my colleagues. It really is a great system.
So up next
Yes.
on the list, do it right the first time, no matter how long it takes. This gives us mixed feelings. On one hand, we appreciate
Really?
how precise and methodical Germans are. There's a reason why German engineering is known to be the
Agreed.
best in the world.
Yeah.
German cars are the most reliable, the most dependable, the most detail-oriented, and some of the best experiences you can have on the road. But at the same time, it can be painful with how long some things can take.
Yeah,
But it's going to be
I
perfect.
heard a description once that put it, Americans are doers, Germans are thinkers. And when it comes to German work culture, I actually think that's a pretty
Yeah.
apt description. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to approaching a problem, Americans tend to take the path of figure it out as we
Steward.
go and
Yeah.
course correct along the way. Whereas Germans will stop, think about it, plan,
Gather the facts.
absolutely, decide what's the best way to move forward.
Yeah, the best
and
course of action.
Then they make a decision on how to fix whatever problem they're facing.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
saying one is better than the other. Both of them can lead to a successful solution.
Of course, yeah.
It's just that the American approach is just go and figure it out as you go. In Germany,
Yeah.
it's we wait, we plan,
And then we
everything's
do
done
it.
precisely. but it's guaranteed at the end it's perfect. So I moved to Germany in 2013 when I was 28 years old or something, a long time ago. But anyway, American work culture has been ingrained in me, and I have been trained and bred to get it done. Just go and problem solve. But German work culture has taught me to strategize, to think about it, and then get it done right the first time.
Maybe someday when I've grown older.
So the fifth thing on the list that I think we can all learn from German work culture is to separate private life and work life while still finding a time to value them both.
I think before we go too much further here, we should give a bit of a background with American time off. When I started my first job out of college, I was given 7 days off for the entire first year. These aren't just vacation days. These are also including my sick days.
Sick days,
If
yeah.
I get cold, I can't come to the office, and that just knocks out one of my 7 days. That is it.
Yeah.
But if you think that's bad, before I moved to Germany, I've talked to you guys in previous videos that I was a full-time instructor at a university. And now granted, I only worked 9 months out of the year. Totally get it. But the starting vacation days I got were 2 days the entire school year. And every
That's
year
insane.
I worked subsequently, I got a half a day extra. And I wish I was kidding.
So generous.
But during
So
my
generous.
HR onboarding, I actually asked them the question, so what happens if someone gets really sick and needs to take extra time off? And they legitimately told me, with all seriousness, that, oh, when somebody gets really sick, like with a disease or cancer, we have a vacation day drive where other people in the university will donate their time off to help make sure that they still get paid.
No way.
NASA mission manager. Mission management.
You think he means it like, are you kidding me? You know? Or like,
What?
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I think it might be the second one.
So when I moved to Germany, I went from 7 days off, including sick days, to 26 days off. In the United States, that would have taken me 20 years
Yeah,
at the same
forever.
company.
But, you know, this idea of separating work and life and valuing them both isn't just relative to time off. The German work culture actually really respects your time when you're away from the office, whether that's in the evenings when you're with your family or using some of those vacation
Days.
When you're not at your desk, there's no expectation for you to continue working. There's no expectation for you to answer emails. So even if you decide to take a 3-week holiday, which is totally common in Germany, you're not expected to answer work emails or answer work calls.
Because you're on
private
vacation.
time is yours. Take it. Enjoy it.
So the separation of work life and personal life isn't just our employers being nice. This is actually regulated by federal law. And if you're
Oh,
curious what
really?
that German law is, we have it right down here on the bottom of the screen, and it protects your working hours, your breaks, and your rest between shifts. So for
Wow.
example, you cannot be requested to work for more than 8 hours. You cannot be requested to work for more than 6 hours without a break. And once your 8-hour shift is over, you cannot work for 11 hours. And the American work culture is you work until it's done. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how long it takes. So
It
even
takes
if you
you,
only have
yeah.
an 8-hour shift, you're going to stay at the office working until your job is done. And
Yeah.
if it is done, you're going to go home and you're going to continue to answer and reply to your emails or answer phone calls. That is not uncommon.
Yeah, worker burnout is a real thing, and not having that burnout and coming to work feeling refreshed is something that we've really benefited from working here in Germany.
I can see
As it should be. It's so sad.
from above, looking back on it all. Maybe I can see what was wrong.
You know, and speaking of well-being, that brings us to our next point, which is that sick leave is not only in the benefit of your own health, but the health of the entire
You don't want
office.
anyone in the office. Everyone
Now,
was get
some
like
of you
cold.
who may be watching this video might think, 26 days isn't that far off of what I get in the United States. But like we mentioned earlier, in the States, it's completely common that if you're sick and can't come to work, you have to take your PTO. In Germany, that is completely not the case.
Unrelated, yeah.
If you're sick with a cold, stay home. You don't need to get the rest of the office sick. In fact, here in Germany, you can take up to 3 consecutive sick days with no further action. If you're really ill and continue to need to stay home, you just go visit your local Hausarzt or your general practitioner, and they'll give you a doctor's note that will allow you to stay home up to 6 weeks with full pay protected.
Six
And in the
weeks?
unfortunate event that you get really, really sick and need to stay home for longer than those 6 weeks, 70% of your pay is protected for up to 78
Wow.
weeks. That's a year and a half,
That's
which is
I didn't know that.
incredible and unheard of by American standards.
It's a
You know,
great
it makes a
policy.
lot of sense for the sick days to be organized in this way because it is cheaper, more efficient, and better for the company to have one person stay home when they're sick rather than infecting the entire
Everyone,
office.
yeah.
So it's logical, it makes sense.
But it also makes us feel so valued as employees that if we're feeling under the weather, that we don't feel penalized by taking the time to stay home and rest up and feel better. I think that's probably been one of the most life-changing things that we've learned from working here in Germany.
And it's not just you being sick. If your child is sick, companies
can also
will
do
give
it.
you a predetermined amount of time where you're allowed to take a day off to care for your child who can't go to daycare or school.
And last but not least, the biggest thing that I think that Americans can learn from German work
Oh.
culture is relative to parental leave. And this is actually a pretty hot topic right now because at the time
Why?
we're recording this video, it's a topic that's actually being currently debated in the Senate. But it's kind of mind-blowing that in the United States, there is no standard protected parental leave. Here in Germany, in the anticipation of Jack's birth, I actually got off of work 8 weeks before his due date, plus 12 weeks after he was born, completely full pay. And if I want to stay home for longer than those 12 weeks,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
actually-
take what's called Elterngeld. And Elterngeld is a set of money that is effectively 60% of your pay for 12 months following
Wow.
that protected Elternzeit. And that
12
can actually be
months.
split between the mother and the father, which is amazing. And it
Yeah.
can also even be extended for up to 2 years at 30% of your pay.
So coming from the United States, it blew me away how much Germany respects the time for the mom and the dad to take the time off to care for the new child, or for the dad to help care for the new mom who is still recovering rather than just going straight back to work.
Yeah.
And I should mention that during this time of parental leave, whether it's with the Elternzeit or Elterngeld, not only is your income guaranteed, but your job is secure. It'll be there waiting for you when you come
It's not they're
back.
gonna get fired.
One of the
You.
greatest things about this is there's flexibility when you want to take the time off. You don't have to take the time off when the baby's born. You can wait 6 months after and then take your Elternzeit.
So
Oh, really?
I should
Is
probably
there a limit?
mention, I don't want to completely throw the states under the bus here. There are a lot of companies that offer extremely generous family packages that give
Well-
new mothers and fathers time off when their new baby arrives. But it's important, I think, to note that none of this is federally standard.
Yeah.
So imagine if you were a family that was working paycheck to paycheck. You can't take this time off because you financially cannot support it. And that's what makes living in Germany so nice, is because the federal government prioritizes your personal life and your time with your family. Whether that time with your family is going on a vacation or it's supporting your wife who just had a child, and for your new baby to bond with parents.
So, all in all, I really want to emphasize that, while I think there's a lot we can learn from Germany, it's by no means a perfect system. I think there's a mutual exchange
course.
of ideas that can happen here to where both work cultures can improve. But speaking as a couple who comes from the United States, is transplanted into German work culture jobs, there is a certain amount of culture shock that happens, but the vast
It's bound
majority
to
of
happen.
it has been so positive.
Yeah, and German work culture hasn't radically changed me. I still have my work ethic that I have from the United States, but I've been able to kind of adapt and learn with the methodical
Yeah, of course.
processes that we have here. I've been able to improve my productivity at my company and to be a better employee.
So, I actually think that this is an awesome opportunity in the video that before we let you go, we would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you love about German work culture? What do you think that us Americans can continue to learn from you?
What part of American work culture do you admire?
And on the flip side, what are some of the things that you love the most about working in Germany? So now, as with all of our videos, we've written a blog post about it, and that'll be down in the link in the description. So if you want to learn more and expand upon this discussion, we would love it if you clicked on that link and checked it out.
And by the way, if you enjoyed what you saw today, hit that like button. And if you want to see more content from the Black Forest family, hit that subscribe button.
So, until next time,
This bald.
cheers!
So it was a lot of things. I was kind of not expecting like so many things, but it is kind of like when you're seeing it like this, like the comparison, it's like, oh my God. And I know they were like the USA, we're not trying to like bash the USA, but Germany does sound like superior in a lot of the ways. And in a lot of the ways, obviously in the ways that like, that matter. No, like, in the economical parts, for instance, like the part where obviously like parental leave, because it's for the mom and the dad. It's you can take that, which great, love it. I think the USA could benefit from it, and I know that she was like, well, they're trying to, like, some companies do sort of include it, but I don't think that's the norm, and it's not the reality for, I would say, most of the majority of American people. So it's like, well, obviously that can be improved. But like the other things, and obviously like also like the sick days and the vacation days, I think that's also like, again, more like they should definitely do that. The USA should definitely improve that. I think everyone agrees. And I do like what they say, that in the end, it's like you get like happier workers, and of course happier workers are gonna improve their work and their productivity. So it's like, well, wouldn't you want that? Like, instead of like unhappy co-workers and unhappy employees, wouldn't you want like happy employees that they're gonna work better? So it's like, why, I don't know why the USA has not, like, I don't know, done something about it, because I do think, like they say, like, ask anyone, they're gonna be like, yes, I'm happy. And so like, because I think people maybe are scared that they're like, oh, if there's no limit, people are gonna take like, I don't know, like 3 months off. It's like, well, no, it's not like that. Because again, if people feel free to like, hey, I'm sick, and then like, I'm not gonna go into the office today because I'm gonna like, it's like, I'm patient zero right now. I don't want anyone getting what I have. And it's like, great, well, good for you, obviously, like, take your time. And also, you don't want your other employees in the office to get sick, because that's what happens. Like, somebody comes in with a cold and then everyone gets it, and of course the productivity, it plummets. So it's like, well, again, that can be improved, because as you've seen, like, it's better for everyone involved, including like the actual company, and including like for the boss. So I don't know why they are so strict about it. If they think like maybe people are gonna be like, no, yeah, I'm gonna take forever. It's like, no, it's not like that. And it is sort of like regulated. I also really didn't know the fact that it was regulated, like in Germany, that's regulated the hours, the amount of hours you can work in a day and in a week. And if I think it was like an 8-hour shift, then you absolutely had you like that said, you had to take like an 11-hour break. I think that was sort of like the case. But I had no idea, and I didn't know that it was like regulated, like federally. It's a law, like by law you can't force workers to work more. So that's also, I think that's great. And in the other hand, there's also like those are, I think, that the ones that are like, well, like I think everyone should do that. But obviously the other ones are like the culture of like, hey, saying hello as you like get into the office, which is funny that they're like very polite, but they're at the same time they're like, they don't really do a small talk. So it's like, well, so what do you want me to do? It's like, am I saying hello when I come into the office, but I'm not gonna ask you like, hey, so how was your weekend? But I do get the sense of like in the USA, I think it's like small talk, it's just like natural conversation like with everyone. And I get why, like, Germans probably feel like it's just like pointless. Like, don't ask me like silly things. It's like, no, ask me actual things, and I'm gonna reply. So if I'm asking you like, hey, how was your weekend? It's like you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it was great, thank you. No, like maybe like, oh yeah, I went out, I did this, I did that. So I'm asking you because I actually want to know. So it's nice, but at the same time, there's something that also like shocked me a little bit. Is like like work time, like we're working. It's not like, hey, like I'm going to ask you stuff about your personal life. It's like, I want to know, but like let's keep it for like lunch hours. So that surprises me because it's like, well, but you can do like both, but apparently that's frowned upon in Germany usually. So it's like, okay, well, they do like to keep, I think, their work and their what sort of like work time separate from the like bonding and personal time, if that's sort of like the way, although it's technically personal, right? You're interacting with your coworkers. But I think it's a sense of like, hey, let's keep a barrier. Like when we're working. It's not like we're gonna like chit chat about like, hey, oh my god, I have something, like I have to tell you something. It's like, well, keep it like let's save it for lunch. But I think something that really was also like really funny. It's the thing about like Germans, like he said, it's been hard for them to get used to, especially he sounds like he had a hard time getting used to, like Germans are like, they're more of like, let's wait and let's like analyze the facts, let's analyze the problem, and then we're gonna find a solution. In comparison with the USA, and usually again it's like generalized, which is more like, let's just start agree on, and we're just like, whatever, we just have to act now. It's like, no, like let's take a second, let's think about this, and then we're gonna act. But I think it's more like, I don't know, because he said, I don't know if that's a thing of like in his previous work or his previous jobs, or it's just a personality thing, because I do think your personality does influence a lot in how you're approaching a problem. But he makes it sound like in Germany it's probably like very rare when someone's like, no, let's just do it and then we'll figure it out along the way and we'll learn and we'll just like we'll fix it. It's like, no, I think that's maybe like, again, it's a personality thing. And some people are going to prefer one method and some others are going to prefer the other. And that's, of course, like, well, we can't do anything because neither of them is like better than the other. It's just like, well, I don't know what works for you, because like he said, both paths can lead you to successful results. So it's like, well, I don't know. It's like whatever you decide. And that was like, well, you know what, he has a really good point. And also the organized, it doesn't really surprise me because I always say German culture and German people tend to be like very like, they're punctual, they're organized, and it's very like this. And I do like that they're saying like, if you're a procrastinator, of course this helps you, because it's like you really do have to like be proactive, and you can't just be like, well, I'll do it later. It's like, no, because German people are going to be like, hey, you said 5, so it's 4. So is it done? So it's good that I think both cultures can definitely, it's different approaches, and both are good. Neither one is better than the other, except for the economical things. I do think like the stuff, especially the stuff they mentioned like later on in the video, I do think the USA should definitely change those things. The others, well, whatever, do what you want to. But those, well, yes. And in exchange, I think Germans can probably be a little more flexible when it comes to maybe like, again, when you're interacting with your coworkers, maybe you can interact a little, like, when you're working, it's like, hey, yeah, tell me about your day. It's like, I can do work and you can tell me about it. Like, it doesn't have to be like separate. So maybe they can be a little more flexible. But this was very interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot about like how working in Germany is actually like, and how German work culture is like. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.